Well, there's a glimmer of normality in our lives again. Things are returning to the familiar ways. Premier League football is back on television. For many people, there's been a 3-month hiatus in the anxious daily consultation of the league tables. The sports sections of the news programmes have disappeared by and large. We've missed the short interviews with the Liverpool manager, the Klopp clips, and the bad-tempered and often incomprehensible ravings of Jose Mourinho. News about the stars of the game has appeared on the front pages rather than the back pages of the newspapers, usually criticism of lockdown breaches or wage demands. But now it's all back. Except it's not normal by any means, is it? For one thing, there's been live coverage on free-to-air channels, the first match of the day live since 1988, and selected matches on the Freeview channel Pick. The subs and support staff are all sitting well spaced around the dugouts and wearing face masks, and the stands are empty. There's no crowds. It all seems a bit eerie, really, and the sounds of the players shouting to each other and at the referee seem rather strange, a bit like a training session, or, in my memory, a very poorly attended Boxing Day game at the Shea between Halifax Town and Tranmere Rovers back in the 1970s, when there seemed to be more people on the pitch than on the terraces. When my brother and I phoned up to see what time the game started, they asked what time we could get there. However, the good folk of the various television production teams have tried to help by adding crowd noises to the soundtrack. In some ways it helps, but it's not the real thing by any means, is it? The main problem is that the cheering is completely unresponsive to what's happening on the pitch. It's a kind of monotonous rumbling that doesn't get louder when the action steps up. There's no booing or appeals for handball or abuse of the referee. You don't get that whistling for the last couple of minutes of each half. Goals are not greeted with a wild crescendo. I actually missed a Southampton goal the other evening because there was no extra volume to the cheering, and the rarity of a goal from the Saints this season should have meant a cheer that could be heard on the moon. And for many people, that's rather like the way they live their lives, all a bit unresponsive to what's going on. There's little in the way they trundle through life to suggest they have any idea of what God might be up to. No whoops of joy at the splendour of a magnificent sunset, or songs of praise when life is sweet. No cries for help when life's a struggle, or inarticulate prayers of lament when things go wrong. The Psalms are full of exhortations to shout for joy to God as we worship him for his greatness, and advice to call on him for mercy and help when circumstances are overwhelming. God is always listening out for the praise and prayers of his people. It's a shame if all he gets to hear is a monotonous, unresponsive murmur from people who've forgotten how to react to his amazing presence and activity. Depending on how things are going for you at the moment, follow the advice of Psalm 98. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Burst into jubilant song with music. Or share the experience of the writer of Psalm 61. Hear my cry, O God. Listen to my prayer. God's waiting to hear from you, and he will answer. Keep alert, keep smiling, keep praying.